Okay, episode 28, The Dawn of Humanity. What a fucking way to finish off the part 2. That was horrific, man. That was terrifying. I mean, you know, there's always been talk about like this when it eventually caught up in the anime. There's always been talk about, you know what I mean, the rumbling and being like, well, what the fuck is all that about? Because I guess the term rumbling never really, like, I don't think it was ever said until about episode 5 maybe of season 4. Was it maybe like during Willie's speech or something like that? Like, it was something around there. I don't know. It was sometime around there anyway. But man, that was like, just watching it is like one of those moments again in this show where you just kind of like watch in awe at just the magnitude of it. Like the scale is ridiculous. And I've always praised this show for its scale because it does it's always done this thing where like the way that they frame shots like allow it to get that sense of scale. Like, for example, when, you know, all the way back in season 1 they had the, you know what I mean, like they had like a slight fisheye lens of and they were always looking up because you were always looking at the Titans and everything like that, and then just seeing it like at the end here in this episode where like it's just a pure wide frame and you're just looking at just like nothing but like smoke and fucking like all of these fucking missiles being shot at the Titans, and then just not being able to stop the Titans because of just the sheer like just volume of them. It didn't even put a dent in them. I can't believe they even managed to get like, I mean, they're talking about like ships and navy and whatever from all around the globe. Like this was like their last sort of bastion. Like, if they didn't finish it there, then that's it. That's the end. So now all we've got left is the squad to essentially change Eren's mind. Because, like I said, I don't know how they. I don't know. You could cut off the head of the snake, I guess. Kill Eren, and then that would. But then doing that doesn't just immediately get rid of the wall titans, does it? Like, where do they go? You know, so it's not, that's not like a be all end all. So I almost feel like there would have to be some sort of like Eren. I don't know, man. There's only two ways this can end for me. Either Eren manages to go through with it and everyone does end up dead anyway, or our squad, somebody, maybe Mikasa, whoever, gets through to him and he goes back on wanting genocide of the rest of the earth, and then he forces the rest of the Titans to harden up again. Like, that's generally the only way I could see it coming to an end. So insane, man. Seeing the Titans swim. I had in my head this whole time, because they're massive, right? But also, like, when you're thinking about it, it is like you're talking about the ocean. You know what I mean? If a colossal titan is what are they? They're 100 meters, right? The ocean goes way deeper than 100 meters, you know. But I guess when you're just thinking about it, you're just trying to think of it as a way of that. Well, they're just they're like, you know what I mean. They're just crossing it in terms of like that. Nothing changes about the way that they travel. Like, if they're walking across the bottom of the ocean, and that's what they do, you know. I never imagined in a million years that they would swim. It's such a weird, funny sight. But I mean, when they all just hit the ships, the way that was animated, man, of the guy literally like his flesh just burning away, that was brutal. That was brutal, man. God, I mean, Armin's was brutal when it happened to him, but like there was some details in this one that was like, Jesus, so well animated, man. And Eren looks mad. He's like he's like hanging from like the front of the massive like rib cage. like some sort of like just conductor, just telling them which way to go. You know, he's like a fucking, it's like a steering wheel essentially. Just mad. A great episode though to end this part, this part 2. It was really, really, really well done. I did like the fact that we did go back and flash back to during that time between the end of season 3 and the start of season 4, because it allowed us to actually genuinely see the change that Eren went through. Because I remember, like, as soon as he come back, like as soon as he came back in season 4, it was like, fucking hell, he's different. Like, it's almost like nothing phases him, because at that point he'd made up his mind exactly what he wanted to do. And having this episode allowing us to see into that, the reasons why he changed, and I'm glad that we got it from his point of view, his perspective, because these past few episodes, I was totally, I just was on board with this idea. Like, I mean, I still am. Like, you know, this genocide thing, like, it can't go through. But I guess I got a bit detached from him, and I don't think I want to do that, because Eren as a character is like, you know what I mean. We've seen the reasons why he wants to do it, and he knows that it's bad. He knows that it's like it's wrong, but to him, it's like this is almost like a greater good kind of thing for him, in terms of the people that he loves. That the only way to really nip all of this in the bud, like as long as the ideology that people around the world, as long as they are alive, distributing like all of this knowledge to their children, basically saying the island devils and this and that, you know what I mean, that they're just these evil monsters. As long as people are around to keep that ideology up, it'll never stop in Eren's eyes. So he's like, well, I have to eradicate them all then. And that's it. That's his way of thinking about it. And I think there was a few times, and it's interesting, like, because when watching it in real time, I was wondering, is it the sort of the meeting that they have with like other Eldians that aren't on the island, right? And they're basically talking about, like, we were basically like forcibly like interbred with them and stuff like that, and it's not our fault, it's the island devils who are the evil ones and everything. It seemed as though in real time that was the moment where Eren, because Mikasa literally pointed out, like, that's the last time we saw Eren like as he was, that maybe like that was it, that was like the final straw. But then there was a moment beforehand where he was up on top of, like, he was over the sort of refugee camp, and he shed a tear, and I was wondering, is it a case of, like, is he crying because he knows there's layers to this one, because there's a multitude of things it could be. Either it's he knows he's going to have to kill these people who are exactly the same as us, but that would mean that he came to the conclusion that he's going to commit genocide before the Eldian meeting thing. So that one's like I don't know, a bit iffy on that one. The other one is like it's basically front and center. It's literally like he's crying because he witnesses people who are just like him, and you know, in parody and everything. It's not just them. And then the other thing is like this whole thing with Mikasa that I really enjoyed, and actually watching Eren when he's speaking to Zeke and actually asking, really, like, do you actually believe that there is something within the Ackermans that have this sort of like innate thing to protect their host or whatever? And Zeke basically nipping that in the bud right there. And basically to Eren from then, it's interesting when he asks Mikasa, like, you know, like, what am I to you? I'm wondering, is he asking, is it family, or do you love me kind of thing? And I wonder, this is why one of my things is like, when he's like, does he know that he's going to kill these refugees? Like, is he trying to find an answer of what is going to be her life after he's gone? Because he says that he's only got 4 years left anyway. So it's like, if you like say that you love me, then I don't know, maybe that might be enough to sort of persuade him away from the fact that he's going to commit genocide, because he might not know what Mikasa does after the fact. But if it is just family, like she says, then it's like, I'm sure she'll be fine afterwards. You know what I mean? That she'll find some life partner after. So that's kind of what I took away from it. But if I'm wrong, if you've got other theories, let me know in the comments, of course. So yeah, and then like the party, I never thought that we'd actually see another like truly happy moment again. You know what I mean? Like a one where they could like kind of let loose. I know it was obviously a flashback and whatnot, but I didn't know if we were generally going to see it again. It almost felt like, and I remember saying it in the episode where the rumbling actually began, I was like, it almost feels like this is a, like from now until then, it's like, damn, like, you know, we're in dark times here, you know, and I don't think it's ever going to let up. But to see like that moment of, you know, where they're having their, and just to see Eren smile again was actually nice, you know. So yeah. And then obviously, you know, Mikasa is the as sort of like the narrator for that first half. I like that it was actually split into two halves. The perspective of like Mikasa seeing Eren go through the change and wondering what does it mean, and asking herself like, you know, what if I did this, if I said something different, would it have always went this way? And then it cuts over, and then the second half you've got Eren talking about it and almost coming out at the very beginning saying like, you know, like, he's also kind of questioning, was it always this way? Because he says that like, well, it doesn't matter anyway, I guess, because he'd already made up his mind. But like, it's that thing, the fact that he's questioning is interesting, because it almost puts in it almost has that little seedling of doubt, which I think is necessary for this genocide to stop. So I think the fact that he's questioning it means that there is still something there that can be got at, but it will be difficult, no doubt, to get through to him. But I think it can happen, and I don't know. Maybe it comes down to Mikasa to literally say "I love you" at the end. That's what I meant to say, you know, when you asked me the first time. Maybe that's what it takes. Just that it could get through. Who knows? Yeah. So like they were talking about as well, like there was blood tests going on. I mean, I don't know. I don't know like how far back I guess it would have, like, during that time. I guess because like we get an idea of like by their clothing and everything, like roughly what century they're in, right? We're talking like early 1900s, really, right? Is roughly the time period. You know, and they would have had injections and stuff like that, and like things that they can use for blood tests and stuff to determine whether or not. So I guess yeah, they do have them. It was interesting seeing like how quick the situation changed as well. Like when they first got off the boat, like it's all bustling and everything's happy and it's like eating ice cream and everything, and then all of a sudden like Levi's like, no, that purse isn't yours, and everyone like immediately like it all changes it, and they start calling, you know what I mean? They start calling them like Eldians, and it's like fuck, like Christ, like, it only took that, and yeah. Historia as well, we got her. It's interesting with her, like I wonder, after that rumbling episode we did see like her from behind, and we haven't seen her a lot. We haven't seen her face for ages, and we got it in here, but there's that in the rumbling episode or the episode after, we see her kind of like on her chair just looking at, like, you know, in the distance as like the rumbling goes by and everything. Has he actually erased the memories at this point then? Is like the way that the fact that she's facing away from us this whole time has been to signify that she's had her memories erased. But that can't be right though, because that means he would have had to have. That means during that, because he can only do it at one point, and that is when he's literally connected with the founder, right? So he couldn't have done it before the rumbling, obviously. But if he'd done it like as the rumbling was going on, he's able to just pinpoint like and identify like an individual, and just because I guess we never really got an idea of as to how the memory erasement thing works. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like distance or what? Like can you really just pinpoint on an individual from that far away and erase their memory? And also, I think that would actually go against, I don't know, I just feel like it would go against what Eren would want, because if he does, how much does he erase of the memory? I guess it's just to erase the fact that he had the talk with Historia that he was going to do this, right? So she would still be friends with him, right? And everything, she would know them. I guess that would be it, yeah. But yeah, it was nice. I was in the middle of putting down Historia as willing to go along with the plan kind of thing, but then it once Eren was like, no, I mean, like, I'm talking about genocide of the world. And then, yeah, she was like, no, that's wrong, whatever the case. And the one thing I can't get my head around is she offered up, like, what if I was pregnant? So I'm guessing when they had that talk, Historia was pregnant at the time, but she wasn't showing as much, I guess. And it wasn't like something like offering pregnancy as an option. I don't know, man. You guys are going to have to help me with that one, because, yeah, that one kind of took me by surprise. So yeah, I mean, what a great way to end it. And now we have to wait another year. Oh, God. Yeah, it's going to be a long wait, but we'll get through it together. It's going to be fun, though. It's going to be a hell of a time. And it's going to be interesting to see where we go from that. I think I've got everything I really did want to talk about there. It was nice seeing Sasha again, man. You know, just to give with that, you know, that last bit, seeing them happy and everything. But you can see there, like, even with like Eren, like, you know, going through that sort of just that time frame of when he changed, that, you know, you can see the reasonings why, like, to him, genocide is like the viable option, because I guess it's easy from the outside looking in, saying like, fucking genocide, what the come on, man, no matter what the cause is, but you see the transformation, the reasons why he's doing it. So yeah, man, it's going to be interesting going forward. But anyway, that is all I've got. And I don't know, maybe it comes down to Mikasa to literally say I love you at the end. That's what I meant to say, you know, when you asked me the first time. Maybe that's what it takes. Just that, it could get through. And I don't know, maybe it comes down to Mikasa to literally say I love you at the end. That's what I meant to say, you know, when you asked me the first time. Maybe that's what it takes. Just that, it could get through.